Hi guys, it's Footbox TV here. I'm gonna just do a brief preview on the fight this Saturday, well Sunday morning, of Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale for the WBC heavyweight title. Interesting. So we've got all the big three hitters, I suppose. Four if you put Dillian White in there. He's fighting Rivas, maybe the harder task. You've got Breazeale, Wilder fighting Breazeale. You've got Joshua fighting Andy Ruiz now. And then you've got Fury fighting Schwartz. Kind of out of all those fights, I was leaning, well, I don't really know too much about Rivas, but I was leaning towards Miller having the hardest opposition. But obviously, Joshua, sorry, but now Miller's not in it no more. We all know about his failed drugs. So I think Breazeale, he might be out of those guys, might be the hardest guy. And where are we at now? This is not the fight we want to see. Obviously, we want to see the big three, four with White hitters face each other. On a side note, we'll get to that. White is he's been trying to get his WBC shot, but he hasn't. So Fury Wilder's coming off that Fury draw. In my opinion, he kind of got exposed, and I think he's always been quite limited. Always relies on that big right hand, and he's fought guys like Spilker, who used a bit of movement. Washington used a bit of movement, and he did look a bit shaky. Obviously, eventually he KO'd them with the big right. Spilker, he was losing till round 9, and obviously fighting a guy like Fury, who's one of the best movers in the division, was always going to be troublesome for him, and he found it troublesome. And really and truly, a lot of people had him losing, and that's considering he had the 2 knockdowns. Though how Fury got up from that last one, we'll never know. Going into that, Wilder wanted the rematch with Fury, but Fury, he chose to sign his big ESPN deal, and he's going in a completely different route. And I know on the recording of this, Wilder's due to make an announcement. So I'm not sure if that announcement is he's signing a new deal or what. But it'll be kind of interesting to see what he's announcing. But he's got Breazeale, and Breazeale is a WBC champion. Sometimes in boxing you just kind of luck, to be honest. He's been sitting on that shot. He fought Joshua, kind of got beaten up. Showed he was tough and durable, but he really did get beaten up for 7, 8 rounds. And apparently Joshua had glandular fever, so that's not a good sign. He came back. He fought that Israel Gonu. That was like fight of the year. He got knocked down, and he came back to beat him. He fought Molina, and then this year he fought Negona. So since 2016, he's fought 3 guys. So it's not great, and basically he's just literally been sitting on that WBC mandatory shot. He was meant to fight. I think he was meant to fight someone. I'm not sure if it was Ortiz or someone failed the drugs test, and then when Stavern fought. But he's literally he fought Molina for that WBC shot. Oh no, was he meant to fight? I think he was meant to fight Stavern. Sorry, and when Wilder was meant to fight Povetkin, but obviously Povetkin failed the drugs test, so they put Stavern as he fought Stavern, and then Breazeale fought Molina. Molina, a tough guy, but nothing special, and he's really just been sitting on that shot forever. And it looked like it was going to kind of fail him because he was ordered to fight Dillian White for the final eliminator, so he would have probably been sweating buckets. And if that had gone purse bids, considering that could have been on pay-per-view. If Rivas is on pay-per-view, that definitely would have been on pay-per-view. Probably would have been in the UK as well. So he probably would have lost and, lost his shot. But lucky for him, Fury went in a completely different direction with the ESPN deal. And, he's got his shot now against Wilder that he's been promised by Heyman, and he's been sitting on for, nearly 3 years. So he's finally got his shot. Talking about the fight, how do I think the fight's going to go? Like I said, Wilder's been exposed, like in my opinion. He's talking in camp about he's going back to basics, he's doing skipping ropes. I think he's been exposed. I think he was always there, and a lot of people knew it. We were just kind of, me personally, I would just thought he might up his game to another level, but against Fury he didn't at all. Still looking for the right hand. That's what he's gonna do. He's done it so long in his career. He's always gonna look for that right hand, no matter what. He abandoned the jab so early against Fury. He was doing it in the first 2, 3 rounds, and he was just swinging those big rights. And credit to him, he hit Fury with that big right at the end, and boy, I don't know how Fury got up. So but he's going to do the same thing against Breazeale. And Breazeale is not a mover. You know, Breazeale is a guy, his defense is his head. So he's just a guy that comes straight forward. You know, I know he's teamed up with Virgil Hunter, and Virgil Hunter is known for kind of giving fighters a good defense. He's done that with Ward, obviously, he's star pupil. He's done that with Khan, who had a shaky defense. When he went to Ward, Hunter, he was fighting a bit better. So he's known for that. So maybe, you know, it's this first fight together. I don't know how long they've been training. Maybe he'll bring that more defense to him. But Breazeale is a guy that comes straight forward, uses his toughness, and his defense is basically him getting punched in the face. And Wilder's a guy that basically likes fighters to come straight forward, so he can just let off that big right hand. It does so the target is stationary, because any guy that moves against Deontay Wilder has him in trouble. You know, the guys like Ortiz wasn't really moving, but was using good boxing skill. You know, those are the guys he hates. But the guys like Chris Arioli, when he was just coming at him, he was just pounding his face in. Duopers, the Molinas, the Stavern, the first and especially the second time, the guys are just coming straight at him. That's what he loves, because that right is just going to find its target and boom, lights out. And that's what Breazeale is going to be doing. He's going to be walking forward. So really and truly, I'm expecting Wilder to KO him. There's a possibility if Breazeale, he's a tough guy. Obviously, we know there's a little incident between them about something happened between Wilder's entourage and Breazeale's entourage, which happened to include Breazeale's family. So obviously that's quite personal. And Wilder's been talking about catching bodies and he's going to go into that bronze bomber mode and talk about killing people. And obviously Breazeale, he feels that his family was violated. So he's not going to just go in there and lie down. He is really going to try and come through it. And his best chance is to do that. You know, Fury landed some big shots on Wilder, and he did rock him. You know, like maybe it's because he's always off balance. So when he does take a punch, it kind of looks like he's rocked. But because he's off balance, he starts doing this jiggle thing. We don't know. But I expect that's Breazeale's only chance. He's going to have to come through the fire, come through Wilder's big shots and try and land something of his own. I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to get knocked out quick. I don't think it's going to be like a Stavern in a round. But I do see, you know, it's going 6-9, especially when Breazeale really slows down and he's just getting hit with them big shots. I wouldn't even be surprised if the corner just throws it in and the ref stops it, because Breazeale just doesn't go down. But yeah, I don't expect him. You know, he's got a puncher's chance and that's about it. But I expect Wilder to just be hitting, reeling off them big rights with that target. And you know, it'll be interesting if we see anything different from Wilder. Maybe we might see something we've never seen before. Maybe the Fury loss is going to motivate him, that he needs to kind of change a few things and he can't just rely on the right. I know he's got a decent left, but it's predominantly the right. So maybe the Fury fight is showing him that maybe he's worked on a few other things, and that'll be interesting to see, because obviously that will stand him good stead going forward. Obviously, if he loses, he's going to look like a fool, because he's turned down 120 million free fight deal with DAZN. This fight was going to be 20 million. I don't know. He's probably getting paid 5 million now. He's going to look like a fool. So, but that's the same for all of them. That's the same for Fury against Schwartz. That's the same for Joshua against Ruiz. Dillian White against Rivas. Any of them guys lose, and they're going to look like an idiot, because White's missed out on his 4 million. Joshua losing to Ruiz is going to be a disgrace for him, and obviously Fury losing is going to be like, why didn't you take the Wilder rematch? So, you know, any of them guys that lose, it's not just Wilder that's in that position. Any of them guys that lose, they're going to look a fool. Wilder more so, because obviously he's had the biggest offer on the table, which is 120 million. So he will definitely look like an idiot. But you know, I expect him to come through it, and I expect him to KO Breazeale. But I'd say maybe late. You know, going 9-12. Maybe the corner pulls it out, and Breazeale is going to take a lot of heavy lever, and that kind of lever is the lever that can give you brain damage, especially if you're not going down. So that's why I do think it could be one of them corner stoppages. Where do they go from here? Obviously Breazeale wins. Well, what a shock! He'll get a rematch, but that's a big shock, and he'll just go back into the Wilder rematch. And if he ever, imagine he retires Wilder, boy. I'm sure he won't mind fighting Joshua again. He's fought him already. Big payday. From a guy that started his career as a footballer to go and fight for a unified champion, that'll be one hell of a story. So that'll be funny. But Wilder, where does he go? I don't know. He's talking about fighting Ortiz and Konaki, and he's got years. He's saying he's got years, but the way he fights and his body's breaking down, and he's 33, I think, going to 34, and he's in his body. You know, he's saying he broke his arm in the last training camp. So, how much has he really got left? You know, especially he doesn't punch correctly. He's always breaking his hand. I don't know how much he's got left. He says he's got 2-3 years for the Joshua fight. They're banking on making that 120 million in one fight. So then when they do the rematch, if they win, they make another 120 million. And if he does that, then obviously him turning down the first offer will be smart. And he has progressed from 15 million flat fee to a free fight deal, 120 million. So even though people are disrespecting him, saying he's stupid, that is progression. And if he can get to 120 million one fight and then maybe 150 million rematch, then obviously, you know, Wilder's a genius. But I think he's running out of time, and I'd like to see the Joshua fight for him sooner rather than later. But clearly he feels that he's listening to his team, Al Heyman, his Shelley Finkel, and he feels that he's got time. So if he wins, I don't think we're going to see that. What will be interesting to see is if he fights Dillian Whyte. We don't know what's going on with the WCBC mandate. Obviously, they've mandated Fury to fight. Fury ain't looking to fight Wilder anytime soon. I think he's going to have another 1 or 2 more fights on his ESPN deal. And why wouldn't he? You know, they're going to build him up. They're going to give him the money. Obviously, he's going to take it, innit? So what do you want him to do? So, you know, will the WBC say forget that and make the Rivas and White fight? And if White becomes mandatory, obviously I'm sure he would love to fight Deontay Wilder. But no, Wilder right now he's got his plans. He's going to fight the Al Heyman side, Kanaki, Ortiz, and then he's just going to try and get his market value up so he can eventually cash out. But anyway, should be a good fight anyway. I think it'll be action filled because Deontay Wilder is, you know, like I said, he's just a straight up guy. And because he's got a personal kind of edge there, I really think he's going to try and hurt Breazeale. And he's talking about catching a body. And to be fair to him, he does throw that right hand with mean intentions. We saw it against Fury, he threw it with mean intentions, and he's going to throw it against Breazeale with mean intentions. So yeah, it'll be a good fight. But I've got Wilder stopping him, or the corner throwing the towel in around between 10 to 12. Footbox TV. Stay tuned for another big fight preview.